You've met someone like this. They don't raise their voice. They don't demand anything. But somehow, you adjust yourself around them. You think twice before speaking. You explain more than necessary. You feel like you're being watched, even when nothing is said. And the strange part? You don't even know why. Problem, deep dive. It doesn't look like control. There's no obvious pressure, no clear authority, no visible dominance, just small, almost invisible shifts. They pause a little longer before responding. They give you a subtle look when you say something off. They go quiet when you disappoint them. And suddenly, you feel like you did something wrong. So you adjust. You soften your tone. You rethink your words. You try to get it right. Next time, without realizing it, you've started managing their emotions. This kind of control doesn't force you. It makes you self-correct. And that's what makes it powerful. Because now, the control doesn't come from them anymore. It comes from inside you. You begin to monitor yourself. What should I say? Is this okay? Will they approve? And over time, you lose track of what you actually think or feel. You just know what feels safe around them. This affects everything. Your decisions become filtered. Your personality becomes edited. Your confidence becomes conditional. And the most confusing part? They never explicitly asked you to change, so you can't even explain what's happening. But something inside you knows. You're not fully yourself anymore. This doesn't mean you're weak, and it doesn't mean they are some kind of mastermind. What's happening here is much more human. Because this dynamic isn't built on power. It's built on adaptation. Your brain is doing what it has always been designed to do: detect emotional signals, avoid social rejection, stay psychologically safe. And their behavior? It taps directly into those systems, not loudly, but precisely. So instead of seeing this as control, it's more accurate to see it as a loop. They send subtle emotional cues. Your brain interprets them as risk. You adjust to reduce that risk. And over time, that loop becomes automatic, psychological mechanism. To understand this, you need to understand one thing. Your brain is not just reacting to words. It's constantly scanning for social threat. There's a part of your brain called the amygdala. Its job is simple: detect danger. But here's the catch. It doesn't just respond to physical danger. It responds to emotional signals too. Silence, disapproval, withdrawal, subtle tension. To your brain, these can feel like threats to belonging. And belonging psychologically equals survival. So when someone uses silence, subtle judgment, or emotional withdrawal, your brain lights up. Not loudly, but enough to trigger discomfort. Now imagine this like a thermostat model. Your brain is constantly trying to keep your social temperature stable. When things feel safe, C, you relax. When things feel uncertain, you adjust. The person who controls silently, they don't turn the heat up. They just make tiny adjustments to the temperature. A pause here. A look there, a shift in tone, and your brain does the rest. It tries to stabilize the environment by changing you. Over time, this creates something called intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes they're warm, sometimes they're distant, and your brain starts chasing the warm version. Because unpredictable reward is the strongest form of conditioning. It's the same mechanism behind addiction. Not knowing when approval will come makes you work harder for it. And that's where silent control becomes powerful. Not because they force you, but because your brain starts seeking alignment with them. Practical framework. So how do you step out of this? without overreacting or cutting people off. You don't fight the person, you understand the pattern. Here's how. 1. Name the invisible pressure. What to do? Start noticing moments where you feel the urge to adjust yourself without a clear reason. Pause and label it internally. This feels like pressure, but nothing was said. Why it works. Labeling activates the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, which reduces automatic emotional reactions from the amygdala. Example, you share an idea. They go quiet. Instead of instantly backtracking, you notice, I feel like I need to fix this, but I don't actually know why. That pause breaks the loop. Ask yourself, what do I actually know versus what am I assuming? Why it works. Your brain fills gaps with assumptions to reduce uncertainty. Challenging those assumptions prevents emotional overreaction. Example, they respond with a short message. Instead of thinking, they're upset with me, you reframe, they sent a short message. That's all I know. This reduces unnecessary self-adjustment. 3. Tolerate the discomfort of not fixing it. What to do? Resist the urge to immediately smooth things over. Let the silence exist. Let the tension stay. Why it works. This retrains your nervous system. You're teaching your brain that discomfort does not equal danger. Over time, the amygdala becomes less reactive. Example, they seem distant. Instead of asking, did I do something wrong? You continue normally. This breaks the reinforcement cycle. 4. Re-anchor to your internal state. What to do? Before responding or adjusting, check in with yourself. What do I actually think right now? Why it works. Silent control works by pulling you into external validation loops. Reconnecting with your internal state restores psychological autonomy. Example, you're about to change your opinion mid-conversation. You pause and ask, is this what I believe or what feels safer? That awareness shifts your behavior. 5. Watch for patterns, not moments. What to do? Don't judge based on one interaction. Look for consistent patterns over time. Why it works. The brain overweights recent emotional experiences. Pattern recognition activates more balanced, long-term thinking. Example, instead of thinking, something feels off today, you observe, this pattern has happened multiple times. That clarity gives you grounded awareness. Here's the simplest way to understand all of this. Silent control is not about dominance. It's about emotional influence through uncertainty. And your brain responds to uncertainty by trying to regain stability, usually by changing yourself. So the real shift isn't about controlling them back. It's about stabilizing yourself internally. Think of it like this. They create small waves. Your mind tries to calm the ocean by moving with them. But you don't need to move. You just need to realize you are not the water. You are the ground beneath it. When you stop reacting automatically, the waves lose their power. Not because they disappear, but because they no longer move you. You don't need to confront every subtle behavior. You don't need to prove anything. And you don't need to become cold or distant. Just aware. Because once you see the pattern, it becomes harder to be controlled by it. Not instantly, but gradually. You speak a little more freely. You adjust a little less. You trust your own perception a little more. And something quiet begins to return. Your sense of self, not the version that adapts to stay safe, but the version that exists even when things feel uncertain. And maybe that's the real shift. Not learning how to control others, but no longer being quietly controlled.